tonight, questions remain about a police-involved shooting that left one man dead.
Just screaming and pounding on, really pounding on doors.
We have details on why police were there and a possible connection with a missing persons case. Plus,
for a rich person, $2,000 in a five-star hotel is nothing. But to people that went on a genuine reason, it's incredibly unfair.
New quarantine rules have many travelers frustrated and stuck waiting for an answer. And it's Patty Day in Toronto. We'll bring you the delicious history of this spicy snack. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. The SIU are investigating tonight after a man was shot by police during their search for a missing woman. And we have new details tonight into the case, which saw investigators sifting through dumpsters outside the apartment building at Jarvis and Dundas this evening. Police now believe a person at that location may have died under suspicious circumstances. Ali Chiasson has more.
After being startled awake at 4 a.m. by gunfire.
Just screaming and pounding on, really pounding on doors.
We heard the shots, and prior to that, there had been police activity in the building.
Residents of 291 George Street saw their building become a grim crime scene today, with both the Special Investigations Unit and homicide investigators converging in the area.
As the SIU is investigating, there will be a simultaneous homicide investigation as well.
The SIU is involved because Toronto police officers shot a 45-year-old man in his apartment while they were there to ask him about a missing woman.
We were investigating and trying to locate a missing person, and our officers came into contact with an individual.
That contact resulted in the police fatally shooting him. The separate, suspicious death investigation is underway because investigators have evidence to believe that another person died here under suspicious circumstances. According to sources with knowledge of the case, a witness claims to have seen a man removing garbage bags described as bloody from the building. Forensic investigators have been at the building all day. They were looking through dumpsters and removed one this evening. At this point, police haven't confirmed if they found any remains, let alone ID the alleged victim. Family members of a missing 33-year-old woman were at the scene today because her ex lives in the building and she hadn't been seen since Friday. So they were anxiously awaiting answers. It's unclear whether they got any tonight because so much remains unknown. And the relationship between the woman they were looking for and the man fatally shot by police has not yet been confirmed either. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
We're hearing tonight from a 76-year-old jogger who was attacked by a cyclist while jogging downtown. The woman is still recovering from what she says are substantial injuries. Jessica Ng has the details and a warning. Images in this story may be disturbing for some viewers.
He hit me again and then I went down flat on the concrete.
Marian Raycheba describes a violent attack that occurred during a morning run in December. Surveillance footage released by police shows a cyclist riding on the sidewalk at Beverly and Cecil Streets.
And spoke in my best teacher voice as he got close to me. Please do not ride on the sidewalk, ride on the road. And by the way, there's a cycling lane right there. He just pushed past me. He actually then circled around, came back and kicked me in the back of the head.
The 76-year-old says she lost consciousness and spent 1 week in acute care before starting rehab. The avid marathon runner now requires a walker and has vertigo.
Before this happened, I used to run 3 days a week. The 2 days would be like 10 or 12K. The third day would be a longer run, like say 20K.
Raycheba says she's been attacked before, sharing her experiences in a Globe and Mail editorial in September. I've been threatened verbally and physically, yes, actually pinned with a bicycle against the wall by a strong young man who demanded to know who I thought I was to tell him he couldn't ride on the sidewalk.
Many cyclists, not all, many cyclists though seem to feel they have a God-given right to ride wherever they want, without regard for the fear and the danger they put pedestrians in.
Constable David Hopkinson of the Toronto Police Service says if you are walking or going for a run, look up and be aware of your surroundings. He goes on to say that this specific incident, though, goes well beyond pedestrian and bike safety.
This is a criminal offense. This is an attack, an unprovoked attack. And my fear is that if this person is willing to do this, I mean, she was unconscious on the ground and he still stomped on her face. So if he gets involved in another, conversation with somebody that he doesn't like, Does he launch this kind of attack again?
TPS is urging the public to come forward with any information about the suspect. Recheba still holds the memory of that Tuesday morning.
What was going through your head?
Shock and fear. Just mostly shock. I was frozen.
Hoping for answers, but still stunned by the attack. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's top health official is urging people to take a staycation this March break, adding the vaccination rollout, which is expected to ramp up in the coming weeks, needs a long runway to take its course.
Remain vigilant because this virus, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of what it might deal us in terms of surprises, and we just need to be prepared for the realistic worst case scenarios.
Dr. Theresa Tam says severe cases of COVID-19 are continuing to decline nationally, but the growing threat from the variants we know of and from potential future ones remains a big concern. Still, Tam says more people getting vaccinated means a quicker return to normalcy later this year. Ottawa says most of the 643,000 vaccine doses expected this week have already been delivered. Well, who, when, and where? Those are the big questions public health officials are being asked right now about Ontario's vaccine rollout. The health minister says the answers are coming. Minister Christine Elliott is also hearing tonight from a group of provincial doctors who want changes to the way Ontario is relaxing restrictions on businesses. Chris Glover has all those details.
I know there's a few billion people that would trade places with me at any moment, so it was definitely an emotional experience to get it.
Not only has Peel paramedic Kyle Johansson received the COVID vaccine, but the first responder has already inoculated hundreds of others. Peel Region has identified paramedics as critical to its rollout.
Homeless shelters, some of the populations that can't make it to those mass clinics, the Peel paramedics will be bringing the vaccine to them.
Ontario's 34 public health units are each planning their own vaccinations.
The three top questions are who, when, and where can I get my vaccine? And we don't have all of those answers.
This is going to be specific and clear to the people, and it's going to be produced within a very short time.
Might sound cumbersome with 34 plans, but it's best, says the council representing local medical officers.
Know what the local intricacies are, barriers, all these other things, the landscapes, the contexts, taken into account together, that is the best approach.
But the wrong approach, he says, the current patchwork of reopening, especially across the GTA. Ontario's Council of Medical Officers penned a letter to the Premier about it last Friday.
What's the wild card here is are those variants of concern, and we're taking lessons from other countries that have had bad experiences and have had to lock down even more when they let go of some of the restrictions.
Doug Ford's response?
We haven't received any reaction from the Premier.
And the Premier went ahead with easing York's restrictions this week to the red zone. The Ontario Medical Association is advocating for changes to the color-coded framework. For example, not allowing indoor dining in red zones like in York.
It does not reflect the new variants, which, as I've said, are more infectious. And that's a concern.
At an OMA virtual event today, Peel's medical officer also called for provincially paid sick days to be included in the reopening framework.
The issue is that you don't want to do it permanently on a permanent policy basis, then maybe within a certain zone.
Another major requirement, the OMA says, for avoiding a catastrophic third wave, nailing down the vaccine program ASAP.
It was such a relief and such a privilege for our team of paramedics that were in there to be able to contribute in that way.
This first responder is keen on helping his region and the province use the vaccine to beat back the variants. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
The city has implemented new measures for its shelter system after an outbreak was declared at a site earlier this month. There are 29 cases of a variant of concern at the Maxwell Meehan shelter. Public Health Ontario is working to identify which variant is causing the illness. Just a few hours ago, the city sent a release saying they will take significant action to stop the spread. This includes enhanced PPE, limiting movement between shelters, and a rapid testing pilot. 9 city shelters are experiencing outbreaks affecting almost 150 people. And the Toronto Police College has suspended all in-person classes due to an outbreak in their building. Police are also managing a second outbreak at 31 Division in North York. They say extensive contact tracing is being done, with members getting tested and self-isolating. Now, both locations have been disinfected. Police say this has no impact on their ability to do their jobs. At the college, all training has gone virtual. International air passengers headed to Canada continue to face difficulties booking a room in government-approved hotels as they try to comply with the new quarantine rules. And many are now taking to social media to voice their concerns. Natalie Collada has this story.
Aisha Fatima says her mother had no choice but to fly to India during the pandemic.
This was a situation that she had to go. Like, if it was your mom who you knew was dying, who is miles and miles away from you in another continent, what would you do?
Her grandmother had a stroke. Her mother, Mohammed, a lunch lady in Durham, gathered all her savings and rushed to her side. But coming back to Canada, she was told she didn't qualify for a hotel quarantine exemption. It took Fatima 15 hours before she was able to get a room through the government's booking line. Family is pitching in to pay the hotel bill.
To me, it feels like the federal government is targeting middle-class people who can't afford it. Like, for a rich person, $2,000 in a five-star hotel is nothing, right? To them, it's just, oh, okay, I don't mind. I'll go to Mexico, come back, and I'll stay in a hotel. But to people that went on a genuine reason, it's incredibly unfair.
Social media is flooded with similar stories, with travelers reporting countless attempts to book a room, hours, sometimes days on hold. Unable to get through, many panicked.
I know they're trying to do something to make sure that everybody's safe, but I think it's a little bit excessive.
I don't think it's something that the government should enforce on anyone. I'll give you an example. I'd already booked Airbnb a month prior to that because I live with my girlfriend. And now I'm having to go pay extra cost for a hotel. Who's going to cover that cost for me?
In a statement to CBC, Health Canada says it's working to mitigate caller wait times and support people who are arriving in Canada who need to book a hotel room, advising travelers to only call the booking number if their flight to Canada is scheduled within the next 48 hours.
We've been so stressed out.
For the Fatima family, the wait is over. Mohammed is arriving on Friday, having experienced additional stress during an already difficult time.
My mom, she's in shambles.
Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
He was a guy who touched hundreds of people's heart. He touched my heart.
Remembering a local hero today. A much-loved bakery owner was laid to rest. We'll hear more about Natale Bozzo and his legacy after the break. And
3 systems coming through in 3 days. That's right. Another one for Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Colette Kennedy. Most of the action from this will be north of the GTA, but I will have the details coming on up.
Spend every single day of our lives working with our father. How many people can say they worked side by side with their dad through the ups and downs of each of our lives?
San Remo Bakery founder Natale Bozzo was laid to rest today. Bozzo and his brothers opened San Remo in 1969. Although retired, his family says Bozzo remained active at the Etobicoke shop. However, he was recently diagnosed with COVID-19 and spent 6 weeks in hospital. He died last week. After today's service, a hearse drove Bozzo past the bakery one final time, with dozens of customers and employees on hand to say goodbye.
It means everything. Just keep on coming, no matter what. Because it's like a family. They're like a family.
This is what he would want. He would want us all to be at the bakery. He loved his family, and he accepted us as his family, not just as his employees.
Natale Bozzo was 75 years old. You're looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline, mainly clear tonight with a few cloudy periods, and above seasonal temperatures, currently 4 degrees downtown. Let's go now to our Colette Kennedy with more on the forecast. And Colette, these mild temperatures sticking around for today. I know the next system, though, is coming in very soon.
Yeah, we are into this milder sector here, and you know that trend kind of continues with one exception, so I'll walk you through that. But you're right, another system moving through for Wednesday, so essentially 3 systems having some kind of an impact in 3 days. But this one is really going to pack a punch more to the north and to northeastern Ontario than we're really going to be seeing through southwestern Ontario and on through the GTA. So a little bit of scattered light precipitation. I use that term because it will at times be showers and elsewhere be some wet flurries mixing in. The sun does return though Thursday and especially on Friday, and mainly above seasonal. Yeah, we get a bit of a cool shot behind this next system. So tomorrow's still mild, and behind it a little bit cooler into Thursday. Not much cooler though, and it'll be good to have that sun coming back towards the end of the week. But look at some of these daytime highs running about 5 degrees above seasonal. Lots of 4s you see around the Golden Horseshoe, up to 8 degrees for Windsor and Ottawa coming in just above freezing. You made it 1 degree there. And you know, you can kind of see how this plays out. As we go through the nighttime hours, just going to have some cloud cover. Still going to have some gusty winds tomorrow as this system moves through. And as we're looking at the morning hours, could see some flurries there from Kingston up towards the Ottawa Valley. Elsewhere, it's just some of this cloud cover that we have. But as we get into the afternoon, that's where we get the enhanced chance of seeing some of this scattered mixed precipitation. Very scattered, very light in nature. Here's the bulk of it. That's where it's going through. You can see the areas there towards Gravenhurst. But as we get towards Thursday and Friday, high pressure noses its way back in. And that's why we're going to be seeing a good deal of sunshine. I did just pause it there, though, because there's that slight chance of getting some flurries Thursday night, but this isn't daytime stuff, okay? And it'll be light stuff too, with the greater chance there for eastern Ontario. So that snowfall potential, you see where that target area is there between Bancroft and Parry Sound, and it's 10 to 15 centimeters, and locally there could be some heavier amounts through there as well. Let's look at your overnight forecast here towards the Windsor area. 0, some patchy fog, some of that will linger into tomorrow morning, and then you'll get rid of that, but still going to have quite a bit of cloud cover. Your southwesterly winds are going to turn towards the west. They won't be quite as strong as they'll be early in the day. They'll back off a bit, but still it's going to be somewhat breezy. This model is making it look very dramatic in terms of the precipitation there into southwestern Ontario, and I don't anticipate that. Tonight, the numbers, around the Golden Horseshoe, it's down to freezing, a little bit below, so you do have to watch out. We had some slick areas this morning because of the melt and the refreeze, so we may still see some slick sidewalks for tomorrow morning. Those winds strong again as they turn towards the west, but look at these highs. St. Catharines may see 7 degrees for tomorrow, and then there's that little shot of that cooler air I mentioned coming in for Thursday, -1, the daytime high. Overnight lows aren't that cool. They're above seasonal too, and Friday looking like one of the best days of the week with sunshine and a high of 2 degrees. Gelda.
I like the sound of that. Thanks so much, Colette.
The weather is brought to you by Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. We test, so it runs. It's hard to stop a train.
Mayor John Tory has announced 2 new sites where affordable housing will be built as part of Toronto's modular housing initiative.
The pandemic has made it clearer than ever as to the need for permanent, supportive
housing for people who are displaced. And this is partly as a result of years of, quite frankly, inadequate support.
The new sites are located in North and East York. The two city-owned buildings were revealed in a virtual announcement today and are part of Phase 2 of the housing initiative that aims to build 150 units. Phase 1 was completed last December with 100 units built within 9 months. City staff are also in the process of identifying a third site, which will be announced in the spring.
Toronto's 36th annual Patty Day celebrates this delicious snack.
The publicity that was gained from it benefited all of the patty manufacturers, and the industry has evolved, and I think we now have maybe 15 or 20 manufacturers of patties in Toronto.
I'm Talia Ricci, and coming up, we learn a bit about the history of Jamaican patties in the city and why today is significant.
You know it as a delicious and spicy pastry snack, but at one time the city had a real beef over Jamaican patties. It was on this day in 1985 that the community celebrated a win for local business owners. As Talia Ricci explains, it's also how February 23rd officially became known as Patty Day in Toronto.
I can say is spicy, savory deliciousness.
Everybody likes a handheld food.
That's part of who we are and something that made home familiar to us.
Jamaican patties get a lot of love in Toronto. Warden Station is just one of many places that you can get them. And there's quite a bit of history behind this snack and why it's recognized today.
So it's something that a lot of Jamaicans, my family included, have brought with us, you know, when we migrated here to Canada.
Let me have 6 patties, please.
But in 1985, the government took issue with the term beef patties.
In Jamaica, these pastries are called beef patties. But in Canada, that name is illegal.
That Canadian Consumer and Corporate Affairs inspectors came to Kensington Market and told the people who had been selling patties that was violating the rules.
The claim was that Jamaican patties didn't match the technical definition of beef patty under the Meat Inspection Act.
Why are you making such a fuss about the patty? I think it's understandable of everyone to believe and feel that the patty was not a violation of anything.
Everybody knows what a patty is.
CBC covered it at the time when businesses were told they'd be fined.
They said that we were confusing the public. We were misleading the consumer. The consumer was under the impression that a patty is the thing that goes into the middle of a hamburger.
Now the general manager of Patty Palace, Michael Davidson, looks back and says there was a silver lining.
We were able to come to an amicable agreement to continue to call it a Jamaican patty as opposed to just a patty. The incident actually brought a lot of publicity to the product itself, which I think helped to expand the consumption of it in the GTA.
What gives this patty such a flaky crust is butter.
To prepare for Toronto's Patty Day, this chef hosted a virtual event sharing her auntie's recipe. Raquel Fox says she's been eating patty since she was in diapers.
You know, the significance to me is just showing how diverse Canadian culture is, and there's room for all of us, right? This food in Caribbean culture embodies a lifestyle. It is medicinal.
What would you say to someone who's never had a Jamaican patty?
Try it, you like it. They're delicious and they're nutritious and they're quite affordable.
And today, they're celebrated. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
They are delicious. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you now with some brand new video of a new delivery at the Berlin Zoo. This tiny arrival is the first gorilla born there in 16 years. Officials have not come up with a name yet because they don't know if it's a boy or a girl. For the sake of the animals, zookeepers and vets are keeping their distance during the pandemic. Have a great night, everyone.